What's going on, guys? It's the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for another live review of Monday Night Raw. We're going to look back at the episode of Monday Night Raw that happened this week. The November 13th, 2017 episode of Raw took place in Atlanta, Georgia, the go-home show of Raw before Survivor Series. We still have SmackDown tomorrow night. We'll see what happens tomorrow night for SmackDown's final show before Survivor Series as well. Overall, we got a pretty strong show tonight. I was going back and forth with Chris. I was going to get it because I couldn't decide. I was leaning towards one, but I felt it still deserved another. A couple little dips on the show, nothing really too major at all that I thought. But it was just, I was going back and forth and we get this show. But this show, my goodness, when you see how the card for Survivor Series started a few weeks ago, a lot of us had no interest at all in watching this show. And I kept thinking to myself, Survivor Series, it just being Raw and SmackDown, it was Raw versus SmackDown, it's not going to really mean much. Like last year, okay, it was the first year with the brand split. Okay, the idea of the brands being split again was kind of fresh. But this year, they had to add a twist to it, make it a little more personal. Now, I will not lie. The way they built it, at times it makes me feel like that, Raw is a team that needs to be cheered for. SmackDown's the villains in this feud, because they pretty much fired the first shot with the Under Siege. They've done 2 Under Sieges. Raw is not fired back yet, but we know we're probably going to get it tomorrow night on SmackDown. But my goodness, the change they made to this card, I'm hoping for one more change to happen tomorrow on SmackDown Live, and that is Charlotte beating Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I'll be happy. The only match that got changed that I was at first a little disappointed with was the match between The Shield, Ambrose, and Rollins taking on the Usos. I thought that was going to be a really good match, but instead we're going to get the Shield will take on the New Day now, which I'm completely happy about that, because that gives the Shield an opportunity to have a pay-per-view match against a legitimate 6-man tag team, not just a couple random dudes. Even though the match tonight with The Miz and the Bar, sorry, Sheamus, was really awesome as well. It was a fun match to see, the Shield all back together again. And if you saw my tweet on Twitter last night, I placed an order for a Shield t-shirt. It's supposed to be arriving by the end of the day on Thursday. So get ready for me to prepare for, some other type of epic unboxing video I'm trying to think of. So that'll come Thursday. But getting back to the show, again, just unreal with how top to bottom, how WWE just pretty much threw that crappy card we had a few weeks ago from Survivor Series out the window. The stakes went higher. We even had a very shocking, interesting turn of events happen tonight on Raw, and I'll get into that later on. But let's get right into it. This review probably is going to be a lot more. It's going to be a little bit longer. We're talking a lot more than we did last week. Last week, I was talking for like 17 minutes because I was just didn't really have much way to say. It was a good show last week, but I was just rocked last week. But I'm in a better mood this week, so let's do this. So we open up, with Stephanie McMahon making her appearance. It's only the second time we've seen her since she returned a few weeks ago. And she's saying, she has to make a lot of decisions as commissioner, and she's find true leaders to help execute those decisions like a GM. And she calls out Kurt Angle. And at first, yes, Stephanie being typically, nothing makes her happy. She's just out there just burying Kurt Angle, saying how, you're just falling for my brother Shane's manipulations. He's like, but, she's questioning how, the New Day got into to the building last week, and Angle, she doesn't know. And then she even, pushes on him for, why'd you put Jason Jordan on Team Raw and whatnot? Just he's a good talent, he deserves the opportunity. That's why he added him on there. This is a big opportunity for him. He's not playing favoritism and whatnot. And she's like, well, why'd you pick him and not John Cena? Since John Cena is going to be on Team SmackDown, which I hope to find answers. I'm just curious to why John Cena would choose to go to SmackDown and not stay on Team Raw. We'll see. We'll find it out tomorrow night, of course, on SmackDown Live, hopefully. And then it says, John Cena is a free agent. You could have, picked him, but instead, you chose your son. You need to prove that to me that he is ready. He says, well, what are you going to do now at Survivor Series? Angle says he wants to break Shane's ankle. You have as any guts to start the match right away. but she's like, doubting that, Kurt can even do that anymore. So she continues to rip into Kurt like always, as Stephanie does. Doesn't get any comeuppance whatsoever. Well, Kurt doesn't get any, at least, saying he's soft, and he says making him captain of Team Raw was the worst mistake. She wants do more than just his ankle, rip his arm, his leg, his head off, put it on a platter, and decimate SmackDown. So because he is not really executed well, in her opinion, she's about to say those two famous words, Kurt Angle, and then Sierra Hotel, India, Echo Lima Delta, Shield. The Shield make their entrance. The Ambrose and Rollins is chilling up in the stands. You know who's coming. It's Roman Reigns, who made his first appearance since the Go Home show to TLC, because he had been out with the viral infection for some time. But good to see Roman back and healthy. We also saw Bray Wyatt back there. Good to see they're both back and healthy and doing well. So everybody's gone over that viral infection. They make their entrances, of course. Also, as always, they come to the ring, and she's like, well, look at that. You guys are back, and Dean's like, Kurt says Kurt's the leader right there, and he's proven that he's the leader, and he only came with their aid at TLC. And Stephanie says that all the Kurt still has it, but also the Shield's lost something. Where are the tag titles? And she starts ripping into them about them losing the tag titles and whatnot. And then she's like, "You're going to blame this New Day, and because they made you look like fools like they did to Kurt." And then she does her ripping on Ambrose and Rollins. And then this is my favorite part of the whole segment. It's funny because, I have been reviewing all the WrestleManias lately, and a lot of people keep saying, dude, I noticed this too. But what was better about Stephanie doing all this back in like the early 2000s was that she was getting the comeuppance. Like, she was getting people, just shutting her up. Well, we somewhat got that tonight, I felt, for the most part. Of all people, it was Roman Reigns who literally felt like he got his comeuppance on Stephanie tonight. He didn't spear her, or I was hoping they'd triple powerbomb her. That'd be awesome. But Stephanie gets to Roman and literally says, "And you, where the hell have you been?" And then Roman just takes his microphone and says, "I've been gone for a few weeks, but let me ask you a question. I'm about to ask you the same thing. Where the hell have you been? You've been gone for like 6-7 months. The last time we saw you," and he looks at Seth and says, "Not going to bother you at all, buddy. But last time I saw you last time you appeared was when you were put through a table. No, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Your husband was put you through a table." And I'm just sitting there like, dang, what a zinger. He burned him right there. And he's like, "Maybe you forgot how to run operations." But no one tells the Shield what to do. And they then challenged New Day to a match, which was accepted. And then they say, we're going to be leaders, just like Kurt here. He says, New Day's trying to make themselves the leaders of, the SmackDown brand. We'll be the leader of the Red brand. We'll take care of the New Day. Kurt here will take care of Team Red for the Men's Survivor Series match. And all's going to work out just well. So, and then they were going to take on, announced that they were also going to take on The Miz and The Bar. And then, a couple other things were advertised for later on tonight. And then we go to commercial, and we come back, and we immediately go to this triple threat match for the final member for the women's Team Raw. The final member of Team Raw for the women's match. Because right now we had team captain, I can't believe I'm saying this, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Asuka, and Sasha Banks. Now, it was weird last week because, Sasha and Bayley won the match. And yes, Sasha Banks obviously has always had Alicia Fox's number. Oh. And she might have led her to want to put Sasha on the team, but it's like, why did she not accept Bayley onto the team? Like, it didn't really lead to anything. So I put out a poll earlier. I was hoping that maybe this be made into a fatal 4-way or something, or maybe Bayley would win this match, But then Alicia would say, the reason why I didn't choose you last week is because I had somebody else in mind for my team. So I'm going to have you put your opportunity on the line against this person, and Paige would have returned. I thought this could happen last week when we were in Manchester because, she's from like Norwich, England, which is probably not too far at all from Manchester. So I was hoping maybe she would return tonight. I've heard rumors of her going to SmackDown, but I still think she should be going to Raw since, we've had the recent releases. So Raw might need her more. I think SmackDown will be okay. But, only reason you're going to SmackDown is if for some reason Shane McMahon decides not to put Natalya into a Charlotte spot at Survivor Series, and instead Paige fills that gap. But we'll see what happens. But Paige's got to be due back anytime soon. But she didn't return tonight. And this match, this triple threat match, it was just weird. Bayley won the match. But what was the point of having this match and just not giving Bayley a spot last week? Because the only thing that really happened in this match was, Dana Brooke and Asuka had a little bit of a confrontation. And Asuka just hit a spin kick to knock out Dana Brooke. So I guess we're going to get a Dana Brooke and Asuka feud. All right, I don't know where this is going to go, but whatever. Asuka's probably going to squash her. So, Bayley won the match. Afterwards, they celebrate, so they have their team together ready. So, as of now, it's going to be, from what teams we have now, it's going to be Team Raw, Captain Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Asuka, and Bayley taking on the team of Captain Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Carmella, Tamina, and Naomi. So that's your women's Survivor Series teams heading into Survivor Series this Sunday. And then we then have Enzo Amore and Drew Gulak making their way to the ring. They make their entrance after commercial, and they do their usual stuff. And then Gulak says how he's doing great, but he's like, Enzo's going to be competing against Kalisto for his Cruiserweight Championship on the pre-show this Sunday, and he's going to compete for his boo, the Cruiserweight Championship. The only competition you need to be concerned with is for the future of 205 Live. It's been great because Enzo Amore, he believes he's money, and he goes off on something about plastic back before suggesting that Kalisto doesn't have pockets. It's, just bullying Kalisto. And Drew's about to do his next testimonial as he's been having a campaign against No Chance. Before it was No Flying. Now it's No Chance. So then it sets up a tag match with Akira Tozawa and Kalisto taking on Drew Gulak and Enzo Amore. Felt kind of pointless. Drew Gulak and Enzo Amore win by pinfall. So that's pretty much it for that. It was probably one of the lowest points of the show, probably. So whatever. We then had Kurt Angle backstage with Team Raw, talking to his members, which was himself, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Jason Jordan. So he doesn't want to take any chances with Survivor Series, and he says that since Joe and Balor can't get along, he's going to have them in a tag match later against the Club tonight. Jason Jordan is going to be put into a match against Bray Wyatt. He just wants him to prove that this is where he belongs. And then Braun Strowman, he doesn't even say anything to Braun. Braun goes, "I want Kane." And then finally, after insisting, Kurt Angle says, in the main event tonight, you will face Kane. So that sets up for most of the rest of the night as everybody was in action. I do like how they did this, and I like how it was last year. Last year's go-home show to Survivor Series was just everyone, like a face and heel team up against another face and heel to say, hey, we should go, you guys go up against each other. Do you know, show that you guys can get along together, work together as a team. That stuff. It was understandable, but, that was just average, kind of boring. Like, this stuff was actually kind of interesting. And then we have the segment of Miz TV with the Miz and the Bar. He first, comes in and he first just starts trashing on Baron Corbin, unless he loses to Sin Cara tomorrow, which better not happen. And he just pretty much just trashes Baron Corbin saying how great his Intercontinental title run, how his United States title run has just been lackluster and whatnot, which not really been like a complete train wreck, but it's been kind of a little flat so far due to the fact that we have him feud with Sin Cara right now, which makes no sense at all whatsoever. I heard they're only giving Sin Cara a little bit of a push because he signed a new contract, which, now you're pushing him at the point where it's just too late. Can't take him seriously, unfortunately. But I just trashed him, and I'm just like, you're asking for to get your butt whooped by Baron Corbin. He's nowhere nearby. If he was nearby, he'd whoop you to shreds. But then we also get to Cesaro and Sheamus talking about how Rollins and Ambrose care more about defending Raw. All I care about was taking back, and all the Bar care was taking back their Raw tag titles. Now seeing they're the 3-time tag champions. They're the A champions and not the B champions like how the Usos are. Sheamus continues saying that they're the flagship champs and they're going to jailbreak the Uso penitentiary. And then this is just like the three of us are going to break the Shield tonight. This is an opportunity. There's going to be no glory hogging Kurt Angle. No bait and switch. It's just Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns. Like, this is exactly how he wants it to be. So very much to say how just raving about themselves and whatnot and go on for a little bit, but it was still a solid segment of Miz TV as well, having the Bar on as well. We then have this match with Bray Wyatt and Jason Jordan. Now this match wasn't really that good, but what it led to was shocking. So let's start with the match. It was Jason Jordan coming out, just he's excited for his opportunity. He has to be a part of Team Raw and to even be a part of it with his biological father, Kurt Angle. And then Bray Wyatt comes out, and he this is the first time he's been back also, right before he was supposed to be Sister Abigail facing Finn Balor at TLC. Thank goodness that match didn't happen. We instead got AJ Styles and Finn Balor instead, which that was an awesome match. Close to a classic, but not quite. But they probably have much better coming down the line, so we'll see what happens there. The match was kind of quick and slow and boring. The match just randomly ends after Bray tries to get him into a Sister Abigail, but then Jordan Sozano just rolls him up, looking easy with a schoolboy pin for the victory. Like, whatever. But then Bray Wyatt comes back in and starts attacking Jordan, and he attacks him, and he suffers a kayfabe knee injury. And then goes, because at first when Jordan wanted to match, Stephanie was like, basically, all right, you're right, he has something. But then when Bray injured him, Kurt came running out to the ring for his safety. And then backstage afterwards, Curry said that, I don't know if this is going to be good, son. You're may not be able to compete Sunday at Survivor Series. He's like, Dad, don't do this to me. He's like, this is a big opportunity. Please don't take this away from me. I'm going to be honored to represent Raw. I want to be able to, just be right by your side and take advantage of this opportunity and whatnot. And, Kurt Angle has shown he's hesitated. And then then he's just going to has a decision to make tonight, and we'll find out more later what happens with this. Now, because this was pretty much a sign that shows that although Jason Jordan has terrible dialogue, what this could lead to for him could be a big character change and hopefully help for the better. Because again, as I keep saying, he's shown us he can wrestle, no doubt about it. He's a very talented wrestler, but his character is just flat, and his whole thing with him being Kurt Angle's illegitimate son really hasn't gone over too well. But we'll talk about what happens later on in the show. And then we have the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar making one final appearance before his match at Survivor Series, which was originally supposed to be Jinder Mahal, but because AJ Styles won the WWE Championship off of Mahal last week, we got completely different. We now got Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. And, Brock Lesnar was laughing, and Paul Heyman was laughing off the fact they were facing Jinder Mahal before, which, is completely unbelievably funny. And this segment was actually pretty good. There was a moment there too where Brock Lesnar really zinged the fan in the crowd. Heyman does his usual entrance, and he says he's gonna launch his 5 selling points as to why you should subscribe to the WWE Network for Survivor Series. The first one was, this is the first time in history that Universal Champion will go one-on-one with the WWE Champion. And it's also the first time that Brock Lesnar will go head-to-head with AJ Styles. It may be the only time that Brock ever wrestles Styles, so you may not want to miss it. That's number one. Number two, it's a selfish point, but as the advocate, he wants to see Brock Lesnar wrestle AJ. And nobody knows Brock better than he does, of course, and he can sing his virtues better than his advocate. And he's seen Lesnar against bigger, stronger opponents this year, but he's never seen him in the ring with 15 years anybody who could claim to be better than Brock Lesnar, like AJ Styles, the phenomenal talent that he is. And he says AJ presents, a different style of, defense and offense, and he's mastered something they teach you in UFC and boxing. Speed kills. He is fast. How Style has a speed advantage, but not all he has to offer. All he has to offer, because selling point number 3, in his opinion, at this point, we're interrupted. But yeah, this is a point. I'm sorry, I'm just reading the notes off of a review on online, but this was a point where the crowd kind of took over for a second, chanting "She said yes, she said yes." So somebody proposed out in the crowd, and they said yes. And Heyman got threw off, and he leans out the ropes and says, "The only reason she said yes is because she's never been close to a beast." He says, like any of Brock's opponents, against him, you don't have a chance. And then people were just booed. But that, I thought that was just hilarious how, Heyman just went out of character briefly. Well, he stayed in character, but he kind of went off script for a second just to, continue his point. That's why Paul Heyman's just awesome. Like, when Brock is done with WWE, they better have something else to do for Paul Heyman, because, but nobody can ever replace Paul Heyman. I think he'll still continue to be a great manager. Geez, I wonder who the next Paul Heyman guy would be. Jason Jordan, if he turns heel. We'll talk about that, though, some other time. Point number 3, though. AJ is the single most talented wrestler, in-ring wrestler of his generation. Finn Balor could be a possibility to as well in that category. He says, but he says they'll let them figure that out in the ring, how he's on a roll and such. I completely lost my train of thought here for a second. I'm sorry. These are the odds that Styles has to overcome, though, which is Paul Heyman talking about his 4th selling point. If you want to see a Rocky movie come to life, he gives you AJ Styles. Neither nor his client disagree in the past year. AJ's definitely, had a great run, beating like John Cena, Shane McMahon, Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens. He beat a lot of big stars. But except selling point F5. This is no Rocky movie. It's Survivor Series. And Styles cannot survive the Conqueror taking the suplex City and hitting an F5 on him. And he looks forward to seeing the match. He looks more forward to saying once again that he will be beaten, victimized, and conquered by the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion of the world, Brock Lesnar. Can't wait for this match on Sunday. So glad I'm not going with Brock and Jinder. We're going with Brock and AJ. This is going to be awesome. Then we have a fun match. It was Cesaro and Sheamus and The Miz, of course, a bar in The Miz, taking on The Shield, the full original Shield. This was a fun match. As my friend Daniel Guys said, before this Raw started, some of the best things about Raw from 2013 and 2014 were the 6-man tag matches by The Shield, and this was awesome. Rollins and Ambrose worked really well with Cesaro and Sheamus, adding the Miz in there. Of course, seeing how he's just scared to death of The Shield, because he knows that he may be able to call them out and say whatever he wants with the mouth. He may have have truth in a lot of his promos, but when it comes to it, when they have him right where they want to, they can just beat the crap out of him. They just hit people with their finishers. It was just high flying, just everything the Shield was. Roman Reigns would later hit. I mean, The Miz, it was weird. Before a commercial break, The Miz got up and ran away because obviously he's a coward. But he did come back eventually to try to help out. He tried to sneak in, a victory from behind on Roman Reigns, but it didn't work out. And then he eventually found himself getting hit with a spear, and then victim of a triple powerbomb for the victory. The Shield win. It was an awesome match. It was just fun to see the Shield be back in 6-man tag action as well. Look forward to seeing them in the New Day this Sunday. And then there's, they're hyping up the match between Braun Strowman and Kane, just, talking about their history. And then we have Kane cut a promo backstage saying, he says, even someone as sick and depraved as he can smile, all he has to do is to remember what he did to Strowman. He remembers the sound of the garbage crushing his body, a true symphony of horrors. And tonight, he's going to show Braun that there are worse things in life than death, like him. And then we, now here's where things end. This was the most shocking part of the night, and I was surprised, and I'm sure most of you were too. We had Kurt Angle come into the ring, talking about there's some tough decisions you might have to make as a leader, and he's about to make the tough decision of his career. He says that it doesn't look like that Jason Jordan is going to be ready to compete at Survivor Series, and he has to name a replacement. So I'm thinking, okay, do the replacement. Who could this be? So it's going to be Bray Wyatt. It's going to be somebody from NXT. Jason Jordan appears and just begs Angle not to take this opportunity away from him. It's the same before. He's once been fighting against his father. This is for his career. This is his big break. And he says, you were injured with a broken neck and you want a freaking gold medal. He says, and I can do this just like you, Dad. That's what I can do. Kurt just can't get the courage to tell his son that, you're hurt. You can't do this. I don't want you taking a chance. And he knows that that Kurt didn't pick him out of favor. He picked him because he knew that he was his best option. He doesn't want this to be taken away from him. He may not get another chance like this, and he wants to represent Raw. But then, Kurt's about to talk again, but Stephanie comes in and tells Kurt, make the announcement right now, and just walks back out. And he's continuing to struggle just to tell Jason Jordan, that, hey, I'm sorry, but I have to look out for your safety. You can't be in this match. But then there's a long pause. Like, okay, somebody's coming out. Somebody's coming out to be a replacement. I didn't know who to expect, but we got an answer, and I was surprised. Triple H returned. This is the first time Triple H has appeared on WWE TV since WrestleMania, I believe. Speaking of, him knocking his wife to the table, Triple H returns. Well, he actually was recently in a live event. Well, he has been working some more live events lately, replacing Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens went home on a personal leave. And then also he was, it was weird because he was actually recruited to be a part of the Shield for one night in Glasgow, Scotland, or wherever it was, which is weird because, Triple H has had his issues with the Shield in the past, but it's a house show, so I'm not going to, crap on it too much. But he comes to the ring, and of course, just that dark, not happy look on his face, takes the mic away from Angles, telling, if you're not going to make the damn announcement, then I will. I am the 5th member of Team Raw. And then Jason Jordan continued to beg him not to do this. But then Triple H doesn't even care at all. He kicks him in the gut and hits him with the pedigree. And, of course, Kurt Angle, though, just stood there, just watched his son painfully get knocked down by Triple H. As Triple H just boots him out of Team Raw because, Stephanie McMahon had to make a decision, and she called on her husband to replace Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle's son, and just manipulated Kurt as well. And Kurt just stood there and watched his son painfully get hit with the pedigree. Pretty much, with the terrible promo, because, again, to get Jason Jordan can wrestle, he just can't really cut a good promo right now as a babyface. He pretty much just got buried. His face run just got buried tonight, and he just laid there looking defeated. So Jason Jordan is out. Triple H is in. I think this is going to set for a heel turn for Jason Jordan. You know, his dad didn't stop Triple H from what he did. You know, he's probably upset with his dad. You know, I'm pretty sure it's going to lead to a heel turn for Jason Jordan. It has to. It's going to help him with the singles run, because right now this face run of him being Jason Jordan's illegitimate son really is not working for him. Again, he's a great talent, but he's got to work on his promos if he wants to be, you know, a bigger star someday. But yes, that's the biggest surprise, the biggest bombshell of the night. Triple H is joining Team Raw. So now the teams look like this. On Raw, it's Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Triple H. That's a 5 there. Again, Kurt Angle, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, Triple H. What a team that is for Team Raw. For SmackDown, it is Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, and John Cena. Hopefully we find out tomorrow night why John Cena chose to be on Team SmackDown. So we'll see what happens. And then we had the match that Kurt Angle set up earlier tonight. It was a tag match. It was Finn Balor and Samoa Joe taking on the Club, Anderson and Gallows. Which, by the way, also, this made me realize also, they're not doing the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic this year, because Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won it the first year, I believe, was 2 years ago that it happened, because that's right before Joe turned heel and feuded with Balor in NXT. But, you know, the match, you know, was just more so just, you know, testing to see if these two could get along. You know, there was some tension at the beginning, but they were able to stay, you know, on the same page. Pick up the victory over Anderson and Gallows. Again, you know, Anderson and Gallows pretty much, you know, just they're done pretty much. But they happen to just, you know, just be victims here. But then after the match, you know, Finn Balor Samoa Joe didn't stay in the ring to, you know, get his arm raised with Finn Balor. And how about also right at the end, before Balor hit the coup de grace on Carl Anderson, Samoa Joe doing that dive through the ropes on Gallows. That was awesome. And as I keep saying, you know, Samoa Joe being like 6'2", 6'3", like 282 pounds, like near 300 pounds, his agility always impresses me. He even took a step up and just did that suicide-looking dive out there. And I'm just like, dang, man, can you do anything else I don't know about? Just what an amazing athlete Joe is. What an amazing performer. I'm glad he's back and healthy as well with his knee injury, and look forward to seeing what he does this Sunday as part of Team Raw on Survivor Series, which he definitely deserves to be a part of. And then backstage, you know, Alexa Bliss is interviewed since she has to wait to see the results of the match tomorrow between Natalya and Charlotte, which I hope is going to be Charlotte win the championship. See who she's going to face Sunday. I'd rather see her face Charlotte, because her and Natalya, it's not going to really be that great, because they're both heels. We're supposed to hate them both. And Natalya, although wrestling-wise has been a good champion as a character, hasn't really been too well as a SmackDown Women's Champion. But, you know, Alexa Bliss says it's unfair. She didn't have really time to prepare for this match, blah, 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 that stuff. She's just DVR SmackDown for us to watch it, because she left SmackDown, came over to Raw. But tomorrow's different. She may actually show up and watch it live, but doesn't care who wins it, because at Survivor Series, your goddess will remain supreme. And then we come back, we get hyped for tomorrow night's episode 205 Live, where Kalisto's birthday we celebrated. I'm not going to watch 205 Live. I'll send Kalisto his best wishes for his birthday, but I'm not going to watch 205 Live. Then we get into our main event, which never was a match. It was more of just an angle with a fight, a beatdown. It was Kane taking on Braun Strowman. And it was weird, because they got into the ring, they stared down, and usually, even if they start, you know, brawling with each other, the ref starts the match. The ref did not start the match, and they just brawled the whole time, you know, outside around the ring. It was a decent brawl. It wasn't, you know, amazing. They put out a table. The table was never used, unless they used it live going off the air. And it ends with Braun Strowman doing a running power slam on Kane, and they go through the ring. The ring didn't collapse. It was just a big hole that went through the ring. I don't know if that wasn't supposed to happen or what, because I'm thinking, you know, if that was planned, you know, Braun Strowman did running power slams on Brock Lesnar, who is like maybe just like 20 pounds lighter than Kane. Because like Brock Lesnar's like, you know, 280, 290, something like that, and Kane's like 320 some pounds. Okay, maybe like 30 or 40 pounds bigger, but still, it is not that big of a difference. Big Show also, he may have collapsed the ring while suplexing Big Show, but he even hit the running power slam on him that did cause the ring to explode. So I was like, talking about it a little bit, but that's how we end the show with Braun Strowman and Kane going through the ring. It was a weird ending. I would have liked something a little bit more for Survivor Series. This really seemed like, I mean, yes, it made Strowman look good, of course, but as far as, just wrapping up the whole thing, for the big battle between Raw and SmackDown, it didn't seem to happen. But I know tomorrow we're probably going to get that because Raw is probably going to finally strike back after, not today, they were a few weeks, after SmackDown put Raw under siege twice. But other than that, either way, it was still a really strong go-home show. And again, after what we started off with and what we're ending with, I'm a lot more excited for Survivor Series. Can't wait to see it. Of course, we got NXT TakeOver War Games on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to seeing that first. And then we will move on to the Survivor Series. But so that is it, guys. Let's check my polls first on Twitter. What grade would you give Raw tonight? 7 votes. 14% said A, 57% said B, 14% said C, and 15% said D. So, right along the line where it should be, I'd say. I was between a B and a B+. This was a really strong show, I thought. The only two things I thought were kind of downers. The main event was more of just an angle. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either. It was good. I thought it could have ended with something a little bit better than just Braun Strowman putting Kane through the mat for a go-home show for Survivor Series. The women's triple threat match was kind of it was all right. It was just weird to see just Bayley not get the opportunity last week, have to fight again for it. It was a little bit odd. The cruiserweights were kind of boring. Sorry. And then the match between Bray Wyatt and Jason Jordan wasn't that good, but what happened later on in the night was shocking with the return of Triple H replacing Jason Jordan on Team Raw. So we'll see where that goes. But I think I'm going to give this Raw a B+. A really solid B+. If not, I make a really strong B, but I'm going to go with a B+, like an 87 or 88%. Really strong go-home show. Looking forward to Survivor Series. We'll see what happens tomorrow on SmackDown. What grade would you give Raw? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, as always. And be sure to click that like and subscribe for more content coming to this channel. Follow me on Twitter at TheManAirboy93. Again, I'll do SmackDown live review tomorrow night. Wednesday, I'll do NXT review live. I'm also going to try to do my top 10 topics show for Survivor Series for November of 2017. And then any retro WrestleMania reviews. And then this coming weekend, we have what do we have this week? Oh, yeah, we have NXT TakeOver War Games review, and then Sunday will be my live review of Survivor Series, which I'll do all those on my channel, unless if one of my Horseman brothers wants to include me in their live reviews, then I'll just use that and put that into my playlist for my pay-per-view review. But that is it, guys. Thank you again for tuning in live for this exciting episode of Raw. Good review, I thought this one was. Thank you very much for tuning in. And with that, guys, I'll see you all tomorrow night. Have a good night.